Before we get into the video, make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. I mean, come on, what are you doing if you're not subbed to me by now? My content is fire, from stop motions, news videos, reviews, music occasionally. All my social media accounts are linked down below, and now, let's get straight to it. What's up, all you beautiful people out there? Thank you for clicking on this video. So, as you can tell by the title, I want to talk about some of the more important keynotes to take away from this Transformers Q&A. I don't want to sit here and bore you guys talking about all the questions and reading everything, because a lot of these questions and answers are kind of fluff and, you know, just regular talk amongst fans and stuff. But there still is a lot of stuff to take away here from what Hasbro's answers were, and to be exact, Hasbro's representatives here. This was the SDCC interview, I guess you could say, that happened a few days ago or last week or something with some of the Transformers fan sites and stuff. And I think Evan was the one answering most of these, and I think some of the other designers or marketing team people were answering some of this stuff too. But I know for certain Evan was one of the guys answering some of these questions. Let's get right down to this. So the first one here, the question: possible to re-release the Activision TF games to coincide with Gamer Edition? Answer: sadly, apparently Activision's not sure what hard drives they're on in their building. When a company eats a company that eats a company, things get lost, and that's very frustrating. Hope is that now that the deal is moving forward with Microsoft and Xbox, that they'll go through all of their archives and every hard drive to find it all, because it's an easy Game Pass ad. We want those games back up for people who have a chance to play. That's very interesting. We knew that it's very hard right now to get the Transformers games back and running for people who want to play them, but hopefully there's hope out there. But I just thought this was really interesting that they answered this, because I don't think we've ever really gotten a definitive answer the past few years, or however many years it's been since you can really find or play these games. So in the next one here, Hasbro turns the tables. They ask the question to the fans here, asks us if we'd consider comic publishers as studios in that they could live in the Studio Series segment. And then the fans answered. They said, led to a small back and forth on this subject, but in short, it seems Hasbro may be interested in something like this. That's a bit surprising. I don't think many people thought of Hasbro adding in comic book stuff into the Studio Series line. They did talk about last year about adding in cartoon shows and stuff into the line to get more accurate versions, while you get the more G1-ified, blockier versions in Legacy and Generations. So, but nothing on the comic stuff, and this is very cool to see. I really hope they go through with this. And then another one here, question: are more video game franchise collabs possible, since they've done a few things like that before? And the answer: it's interesting. Collabs continue to grow and companies are approaching us, so everything is always on the table. We definitely want to partner with video game companies. Clearly, Nintendo partnered with Lego and they made Lego. I said logo. And they made a Nintendo system, or there was the Super Nintendo Transformer at one point in Japan. Like, we would love to be able to do something along those lines. Any company out there, like, I don't know, a partnership with Sega, a partnership with Microsoft or something. Sony even, just to make a PlayStation, would be awesome. I really think this is interesting that everything is on the table, even with a collab. There's no restrictions in terms of brand deals and paying a company to do a collab or whatever. I don't know the specifics, but I know there's some extra money involved, which is why these collabs always tend to cost more than your regular Generations figures. So, but yeah, pretty cool. And then the next one here, so we kind of hit on this with the comic talk, but just to elaborate, first we had 86, now we have Gamer Edition, expanding Studio Series even more. What sort of other things could happen? And then they answered with, anything that's technically a studio could be on the table. We're trying to look at that and make sure that it's authentic to what Studio Series is. We don't want to just shoehorn everything into Studio Series, but we do know that there are opportunities to grow the brand. We always say from screen to toy, and a lot of people will read comic books on screens now. So it seems like the next step really is they're looking into comic book stuff to add into Studio Series. Me personally, on this whole thing about them adding extra subgenres into Studio Series, Obviously, I love it. I love what they're doing with Gamer Edition. I love that they're contemplating adding in more accurate cartoon figures into Studio Series at some point. And it seems like they're also talking about adding in comic book stuff now, which is very interesting. We've never heard about this before. There's still so many Bayverse characters, Nightverse characters, Capelverse, whatever you want to put a label on some of the live action stuff, that haven't been made in modern Studio Series format yet. So I just think, you know, keep Gamer Edition, keep SS86, and maybe start sprinkling in a little bit of the more cartoon accurate figures by either next year or 2025. But I think they should really finish off most of the live action stuff before they start adding in even more and more and more sublines, even though I would love to see more comic book figures get made. Next question here. There's been a lot of characters we've seen before that never made it into the show at all. Animated Marauder Megs, Power Master Prime, other Allspark Almanac characters used as examples. Things that exist in a more nebulous state, in other words. Would you be able to do stuff like that? And then the answer here, unsure, depends on how it was created. If it was created by the studio we are working with for the show, then technically it should be our property. But if it's a fan created or came from other outlets, then there might be some creator rights things we'd have to look into. The things featured in the Allspark Almanac, for example, it is very interesting because the rights issues get a little complicated, especially when dealing with even some of the Japanese media stuff that's like, we have the rights to the Transformer characters that are in it, but the human characters that show up, those aren't ours, which is very weird. And then like even some of the stuff that was produced for like the TV magazines that launched back then, like the manga, some of those characters are ones that we kind of need to work out rights issues with. So it might be a very similar situation to that, but something we'd have to look into. I know for many years now there were a lot of people speculating that's why we didn't get many animated stuff after the show ended, which was rights issues, but, you know, the past couple years, Hasbro came out and said, no, that's not the case, we own all those characters. And that seems to be pretty much a similar thing here, but obviously a bit more complicated. I would love to see some of these animated characters, or just figures in general, that didn't get a chance to come out back in, 2010, when the show got canceled. So if this is an avenue for them to go in to get these characters made, I would love an animated Hotshot. Y'all know me, my name is chrisjaammm. Hotshot is one of my favorite Transformers characters of all time, I'd say. I'd love an animated Hotshot, an animated Red Alert, Striker, Spitter, Cyclonus. All those guys would be awesome to get in figure form. So if they look into this more and they actually go through with this, I would love it. Give us a Blackout, whoever else. I would be drooling all over that. Next question here. Since Auto Troopers are happening, are troop builders something you're interested in doing more of, like the TFP Viacons? And then the answer is here. Troop building is definitely something that even our director Super wants to do more of. I think we have to get them out of exclusives and more into mainline, so it's definitely something that we've talked about. It's something that we, compared to other action brands, kind of lack. There are these background characters that just never got to get made, so we're testing the waters. So we did the Ballet Pit for a Comic-Con exclusive. Everybody was after that to buy multiples. We did the Sharkticons in Studio Series. People wanted multiples of that. We're doing this other new troop builder kit to see if people are interested. And then clearly we've made the Seeker mold like 900 times. But yeah, we can make it a little bit more purple and you could build out your entire Seeker army. The G2 Cybertronian Trooper was a head swap Mark and Hasui came up with. So we're also looking at the multiple heads thing and swapping of heads. That last part absolutely makes my mouth water. I've been saying this for a while now. If Transformers can start coming with interchangeable heads, maybe even interchangeable hands, or just more so normalizing articulated hands so you could get away from the circle jerk jack-off hands that all these figures tend to come with for 98% of the time, then you have exclusions like Earthrise Optimus, Tarn, and Jixis and stuff like that. If they could do that, interchangeable heads and hands more often, I would be so all over this. But in terms of the army building answer here, I would love to see more army builders. Give us some Decepticon drones, give us some more variations of the Auto Troopers, give us more Insecticons maybe, just all the different army builders we could get. I would love maybe some Devastation drones, maybe updates of the drones from the 2007 movie games, you know, that type of stuff I would love to see. And they do acknowledge here that they lack in army builders where other action figure brands love to milk the hell out of it. I know Star Wars does, Marvel, they all do it, G.I. Joe. So I love that Transformers is being more self-aware of the army builders that they could do in this universe, and I love that they've been branching out and starting to do it more the past few years. I know a lot of people don't consider it army builders, but the Siege Deluxe Class Brunt and the Kingdom Deluxe Class Slammer, I've had the idea, and I know so many other fans out there have this idea too, of army building them for Auto Troopers and Decepticon drones. I haven't done that yet. I do want to do that at some point. But, I mean, yeah, people want to do it. People want Decepticon drones. People want more variations of Auto Troopers. Maybe they could re-release Brunt as calling him a Decepticon drone at some point or something. Maybe they could re-release Slammer because he looks a lot like an Auto Trooper. Maybe recolor him and call him like a heavy-duty Auto Trooper or something like that. A lot of ideas they could do with army builders, and I'm really excited to see where they go with that. Next question here. Now that Jolt is coming with Powerlink's Hotshot, are there plans to do the rest of the minicons as well? And then the answer is, Mark and I have talked about it. We know Armada fans want them. We are discussing how to get them out there. This is a good answer. You know, I think minicons have been really lacking in the Armada updates the past year and a half. And I love that Jolt is finally getting done. But yeah, it is a $50 2-pack, which I'm not too fond of. But the next question here, which leads into what I was just talking about with Jolt, the question is, will Jolt get a retail release for those who can't get the exclusive set? And the answer is, maybe at some point we will have to do a version that goes with retail Hotshot. So it seems like all the worries about not being able to get Jolt as a single release and having to pay $40-50 to get him with another Hotshot repaint, they don't want to do that. It seems like at some point we're probably going to be getting a retail release of Hotshot, probably as core class or something like that. So that would be nice for the people that don't want to get the pack. Me personally, I don't know if I am getting the pack or not, but we'll see what happens with that. Next question, possibility of a Siege Astro Train release without the battle damage, and the answer is absolutely. Maybe expect Astro Train to appear in Studio Series to better match his animation appearance. I'd be down for a whole new Astro Train figure. I think the leader class is a bit outdated. I would love to see him in maybe Commander class, because I do like Astro Train being a bit taller, but who knows what they'll do with that. Next question, how has Armada Prime sold in comparison to other commanders? He seemed to frequently sell out at online shops. And the answer here, from what I've heard, he does keep selling out because he's a fan favorite. This is a great sign for Armada fans that want more characters done in Legacy. It seems like they've been selling pretty well, mainly Optimus, so this is a great sign. And the next question here, Lugnut won the Hall of Fame vote, so will a figure happen soon? And they answered with, I certainly hope so, since he's a fan favorite, and since we're dipping into the animated universe, it's certainly a possibility. I've been saying this for the past year since he won that fan vote. Anytime a character wins a fan vote like that, they always end up getting a figure, whether it's 6 months away, or a year away, or 3 years away. I'm thinking either next year or 2025 is likely when we'll see a Lugnut figure. So don't lose hope yet. I definitely think he's coming soon. Next question here will be absolutely mouth-watering for us Unicron Trilogy fans. The question is, how about a more accurate Cybertron Optimus Prime? And they answered with, I think so. People love Leo Breaker and Cybertron Wingsaber and their combination gimmicks with Cybertron Optimus, and I think it would be good to revisit that. I would like to fight to make that happen. I definitely think a new Cybertron Optimus Prime will certainly happen one day. maybe a few years from now to get a few more years off of that Galaxy Upgrade Optimus, because it's only been 4 years, and they tend to like to do updates years after the first release, unless if it's like a massive popular character like G1 Optimus or Megatron. So I definitely think it'll happen at some point, along with Leo Breaker and Wing Saber. Next question: Evolution seems somewhat heavy on retool/repaints. Was this a conscious decision? Answer is, it's more that we thought it was the best way to do those characters. No budgetary or extra constraints. It was just the plan to make them as they are. This is an interesting answer. A lot of us have been speculating since Legacy Evolution has gone on that it seems like some major budget cuts happened this year, where more figures than often we usually see in mainline are either repaints or remolds of each other. And they said no, there's no budgetary or extra constraints. So I'm wondering if there were and they just can't say anything, or they're actually telling the truth here. I don't know. I don't want to put words into these people's mouths, because obviously I don't know the details behind the scenes. But next question: will future pretenders follow their original sizes? And the answer is perhaps. Depends on where we can make them in the line. Metal Hawk we made bigger. If we made the others that go with him, they will likely be in scale with him. They've been all over the place with pretenders. I don't know, man. I just hope they handle pretenders a bit better. They've been all right. A lot of them have been lackluster to me, but we'll see what they do in the future. Next question here: are Transmetals something they're interested in diving into more? Answer is we are, and it's most likely we would have to go with the spray metallics and vacuum chroming. Yeah, to be expected. That's basically what they did with the Transmetal 2 Megatron last year, so definitely excited for more Transmetal stuff. Next question: Polar Claw appeared in a piece of early Kingdom artwork, but obviously he never materialized. Jesus. Is there any chance he could be revived? BW fans would love to see him. Answer: yeah, it's possible. It was something John Warden had planned, but when team transitions happened, it was decided to release-wise that makes more sense to do a Voyager Tigatron than Polar Claw at that scale. We've heard them talk about this before. It's just interesting to see them expand upon what happened. So it seems like when the teams switched in the middle of Kingdom, Polar Claw got scrapped then. If John Warden was still in charge, Polar Claw would have happened and Tigatron would have been just a repaint of Cheetor, which I love that they changed that, but I do hope a Polar Claw happens at some point soon. Next question here: are there plans to re-release Legacy Cosmos? Has the exclusivity agreement with Walmart ended? Answer is yes, we plan to release him at some point, possibly the other Walmart exclusive molds too, and plan to seed them into the mainline more. This is awesome for the people that want Cosmos to be more accessible, people who missed out on him that don't feel like paying the $60 scalper prices. This is great news for that. Next question here: so for a new Energon Optimus, would he still have his trademark chunkiness? Answer is, well, it's certainly iconic, though since I like his combination with Energon Wing Saber, I would like for a new figure to have good articulation. Perfect answer. Keep everything accurate about Energon Optimus, but just add more modern articulation to him. That would be absolutely perfection. I would love that. And the last Q&A that I will cover in this video here is: are there plans for some of the larger ROTB characters like Stratosphere or even Unicron to get toys? And they answered with, we get that a lot, maybe eventually a HASLAB Unicron in like 10 years, since we would want to see a robot mode. Stratosphere would be fun, would be interesting to do a Studio Series Titan. I would love a Titan class Stratosphere. Please make it happen. HASLAB ROTB Unicron, I could see happening one day, definitely. Probably won't be anytime soon from now. But I would love to see a live-action Unicron get made, and I'm really curious to see his robot mode design in future movies. But, yeah, that sums it up for all the Q&A stuff that I thought was really major, big news. Because, like I said, again, a lot of this stuff is basically, it's on the table, or maybe, or I can't give a definitive answer, or it's just regular fan back and forth talk, you know. So, those are the more important ones. Let me know down below which of these Q&A stuff really piqued your interest for the future of the Transformers toy brand. And, yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye!